What's going on? It's your boy Sebastian Ryder, and you tapped into another episode of Cut Different TV. And today we got a very special guest in the building, as usual. You know, we here in Cut Different Studios making it happen. Before I introduce you to our guest today, make sure you hit that big red button that says subscribe right beneath the screen that you're watching this on and join the Cut Different family. Today on Cut Different, man, we got a guest in the building who is an entrepreneur, content creator, founder, making everything happen in the city. You might see him on a rooftop. You might see him vibing. You might see him hosting shows. We got my brother Taylor Elajas in the building.
Hey, getting down and dirty. Host with the most boasts. Expeditiously. Stop playing.
It's a vibe, man. We in here. We've been chopping it up, getting ready. And we've already gotten clips out of him without the cameras even on. So he's got a lot of gems to drop for y'all, a lot of game to give on entrepreneurship, on creating content. So what I always like to do is start from the beginning, right? Start from the foundations. How did you get into entrepreneurship? I know you were telling me your pops was an entrepreneur as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So before I dive deep into that, I do appreciate you for having me on this platform. So, I have to get you a little gifty gift, you know what I'm saying? Fresh out the Bel Air.
Oh, word.
This is yours, my guy. You know what I'm
saying? Hey, you know the vibe. Bel Air, what's up? Bel Air, what's up?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that. Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? But
we need to bust that open.
You know what I'm saying? But entrepreneurship, though, I always wanted to explore my artistic talents. I always say that I'm not a creative as a buzzword. Like I popped out the coochie like this. Like my brain is just built different. You know what I'm saying? Cut different. So when it came to entrepreneurship, I went to school for arts and video editing and graphic design and things that would allow me to garner skills and hone my expertise to be able to do the things that I watched on TV. Like I was heavy into watching episodic programming. Like I watched a lot of Kevin Hart specials growing up, and just the things that I ingested was people doing it on their own or just utilizing the concept of entertainment to monetize or just put a smile on somebody's face or to just like change people's lives, So I took that plus seeing my dad, be just so into trying out different things. Like he tried out having a trucking company and, buying land and, growing up, I would see him just be in the house sometimes, but like we weren't poor or nothing. So I'm like, yo, how you just in the house sleeping? It's 1 p.m. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not at work
type shit.
But there'd be times that he would go to work, like he'd have a job, but he also would do the entrepreneurial stuff. So I feel like I got the entrepreneur side brain from my dad, and then like the kind of educational part from my mom, so I feel like I'm a good mixture of like book smarts, street smarts, and I just kind of decided to take that entrepreneurial route because, I don't like the concept of somebody having true control over my actions, and even when it's social media, people that pour too much into having their platform on social media without making it an overall brand are in the same predicament, but they don't necessarily realize that. But, I always saw social media as a tool to be able to build myself up, and entrepreneurship in general as a tool to build myself and just project my message, which I always felt was just different than the average person, and one of my main quotes is, I'm not weird, I'm unique. Right. So, when it comes to the concept of being unique, it's hard to really box somebody in, whether it's in a job or like a thought structure or lifestyle or mindset. So I just kind of took that and ran with it and made it again,
Fire. That's tough. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're unique. You're not weird. And weird is I don't think you're weird, by the way. I think you're a cool guy. But I mean, people look up the definition of weird, and basically it's just something that's not normal. It's just something that's different. And regardless of what the definition is, words like that, adjectives that people try to use to, like you said, box people in or put them in a specific, place or, define them as something specific is corny to me. And even if, you're judging somebody or whatever the case may be, that judgment isn't necessarily going to affect my moods, not going to affect your moods. So when you started creating EBN, and doing what you're doing and started creating content, like what was your first step from having that idea, having that early inspiration, deciding that this is what you want to do? You don't want to be in a situation where somebody else can control your destiny. What was that first step that you took?
So I say the first step came from, like I said, when I popped out to coaching. You know what I'm saying? Every step from being in elementary school and my teachers were teaching me how to play instruments, and I was on stage, performed, and played the guitar, sung at the same time, and played the drums and electric guitar, bass guitar. And I did that in front of like students, teachers, faculty, you know. And when I was in middle school, I tried out for the art program. And when I was in high school, I was the sports editor of my newspaper and started a sports blog with my friends. And when I got to college, we started a sports podcast. And from then on, I taught myself how to use Photoshop and Premiere Pro and After Effects. And then I started taking classes while I was in school. And then I transferred to a different school. And then I really honed in on those skills and talents, right? But I'd say the EBN aspect of it all really started to birth while I was in college, taking the concept that I enjoyed with the whole episodic television thing, where I loved watching TV shows. I like the concept of cable, where no matter what time you turn on your TV, there's something on TV, you know? And my attention span, I wouldn't say it's like short, but it can be short at times. So my attention span and ability to watch movies were really there like that. So I wanted to replicate episodic television. And I was like, yo, I want to be the person that doesn't ingest more content than I create. So I was like, how can I go about doing this, right? I'm over here sitting, watching TV, and these people are making money while I'm making no money watching them on TV, soaking up hours of content, and they already got paid, and I didn't get paid nothing to just sit here and ingest the things that they're doing, right? Which is dope and all that. But I was always the person that where people would just throw different things in me in my path. It was like, yo, you should be a voice actor. I like your voice. Or, yo, you're pretty funny. You ever thought about doing comedy? You know, and I was an artist. I wanted to be an architect. So people was like, yo, you ever want to pursue being in the art world?
Again, like trying to kind of put you in that box of like, yeah.
You know, I just never wanted to be in a box. You know, I just feel like I had too many talents to put myself in a box. So I was like, you know what? The only way to really emerge out of someone trying to put you in a box is to create your own box and make it as big as possible. You know, like my box that I created, that thing open, it don't close. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when I created EBN, it was in my dorm room, and I just finished a session of creating some graphics on Photoshop, and I was by myself in my dorm room. I had an index card, and at times I would just randomly draw and sketch. I love sketching and whatnot. So I took an index card. I had a red highlighter or a marker or what have you, and I wrote creation and innovation on it, which is another one of my taglines. And I drew the lemon. His name is Silo. You know what I'm saying? But I drew lemon and I colored it in red. And from that day, I then when I was taking these Photoshop classes, I learned how to make it a digital thing, and then I learned how to color it in, and it just kind of immersed in the ideas. And the more I learned in school, and the more I self-taught, you know, and started piling on the knowledge and expertise and utilizing the tools that we all have, which is the internet and YouTube, and just furthering my expertise, you know. And I was just doing that on a daily because it's what I genuinely enjoyed. And so I took that concept and my love for TV, and I took the kind of CBS, TBS structure of just memorable letters, like things that's easy to remember. And I was like, you know what? EBN, Broadcast Network. That's kind of where people go usually when they're titling their production companies. And then I took my last name, Elajas Broadcast Network, EBN TV. And then that's kind of emerged there and kept trying to figure out different ways to pile on and make it an umbrella of what it is right now.
Fire. And you're at like 10 or so different platforms right now, like double digits. And so you've obviously grown, and you've obviously taken that somewhere. One thing that sticks out to me about that story is like you talk about the influence that like episodic content had in your life as a child, and like growing up and being around that and consuming that. So when you decided that you wanted to create it yourself, and you mentioned earlier that you don't really watch TV anymore. completely locked into Game of Thrones right now. I'm super late. And he was like, I don't even watch TV. So how do you go from being so inspired on that style of content to then kind of cutting it out and then still maintaining the inspiration that's needed to now be a producer and create your own content? Or were you just kind of like, all right, I know the style of the type of content because I've consumed so much of it, and now I'm just going to lean on my own creativity? Like, walk me through that.
I think it's more like to the second part where you're saying, and I feel like I put in my 10,000 hours of watching TV. So once I put in those hours, I was like, yo, I got to do something with this knowledge and production concepts that I've maybe even subconsciously poured into my brain just from watching TV, watching The Office, watching King of Queens, watching Community, watching tons of YouTube, Derek Comedy. If y'all don't know, Childish Gambino probably don't want y'all to know about his escapades doing Derek Comedy, but Derek Comedy, him and his friend group, it was kind of like Odd Future before Odd Future, and they were on YouTube doing that type of stuff. It was just a lot of slapstick type of comedy and stuff like that. So I love satire and dry humor, and that's just the type of person I was anyway, right? So, you know, watching these type of shows, it kind of just fed my brain. And in school as well, I was learning how to do like TV production and whatnot. So I got to the point where I don't really watch TV anymore like that because, like I said, from a young age too, I didn't want to be the person that just ingested all the content and did nothing with all the things I was ingesting. I was just sitting on the TV, you know what I'm saying? You know, like that black guy, like you're sitting on the couch watching TV, you're not doing nothing with your life. Get up, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't go to ICDC, but I got up.
Hell yeah, got ICDC.
You know, and I did something in my life. I got up and I went on my computer. I said, yo, I want to learn more about the internet. Like I love the internet. I grew up on Tumblr. Like I had multiple Tumblr blogs. Like I was on what's the other music one?
MySpace.
MySpace. I was on MySpace, and you know, I used to not even have a phone back in the day. I used to have to communicate with one of my ex girlfriends through email. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just always.
That's kind of player though.
It was alright. Yeah. But you know, like I was always just on my computer trying to figure out how I can further my knowledge and take those 10,000 hours that I put in watching TV and even like playing video games and furthering my knowledge of sports and basketball through playing 2K. Like I was like, God, I didn't even play online 2K. I literally would play my GM all day, every day. And I would like build up a team. Like I was like 6 seasons in to my GM, and it wasn't online. I was literally just playing the computer, building out the seasons, you know what I'm saying? And I played 2K on the Wii. You know what I'm saying? Like I just spent a lot of time locked in on myself. Like I tell people like I didn't really start hanging out with people until I got to high school. Like I had friends, but like definitely elementary school, I had a couple close friends. I go to their house here and there, whatever. But I was in the crib, you know, like middle school. I would go play basketball with the homies after school, but then after that, I went home. You know what I'm saying? High school, like my friends would come to my crib, you know, and then I didn't really start going outside with my friends stuff till like sophomore year. So imagine like that whole portion of your life you really spent locked in, figuring out what you like to do, like what you want to do, like what you enjoy laughing at, like what makes you tick. You feel me? So you know, I just took all that and I kind of put it together and said, yo, like what I'm gonna do with all this for me, because one day I can't live off the work that my parents put in, and I knew that from young too. You feel me? Like no matter what they did to allow me to feel like I don't, I'm not living in a life of like impoverishment. You know, like I feel like I grow up middle class, right? But I know that it's not gonna stay like that forever. Like I gotta build my own legacy, you know. And I feel like high school is when I really locked in on that and just tried to really forge ahead and figure out like how can I make my own mark and my own impact in this world. And I feel like being the person that can not only be the on-camera personality, but build up other people. That was also something that EBN was also kind of structured off of. Like I wanted to have other hosts on my network. I wanted to also be able to empower other creatives to use this thing that we're so blessed and lucky to have, which is the internet and social platforms, to the best of your ability, and not just scroll on them. You know what I'm saying? Like even back on Tumblr, I was creating content. Like I was always figuring like, yo, I should not only just ingest the content, but create it. So
fire. And so I think that's dope that early on you kind of established and understood what it was like to do things on your own. Staying inside, being in the crib, like, I mean, I don't know how old you are and I'm not gonna ask you, right? But like when you're younger, you're outside, you're playing with your friends, you're doing sleepovers, you're playing the game, etc. So when you're having that isolation and you're learning how to be by yourself. And all that whole time you're consuming this content, you're doing things that you enjoy. For somebody that goes that whole part of their life, and you said you started kicking it with people in high school, but a lot of people, they could be 21 getting out of college, 22 getting out of college, right? They've only known social life. They don't really know what it's like to be by themselves. They don't really know what it's like to lock in and really dive in. And I have an idea of it, but I'd love to get your perspective on that mindset shift of, if you didn't spend all that time by yourself when you were younger, building that foundation, and you had to start now, or you had to start after college, what is that mindset shift like, and what advice would you give to somebody that's trying to take that step?
Mm. Nah, yes, that's a good question too, because I feel like it's necessary not only just for the path of entrepreneurship to know how to be alone and within your own thoughts, but just in life in general, whether it's in dating and knowing, yeah, this person's playing with me, I need to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And not deal with certain things. I feel like I can see it affecting people very fast. Like, I don't deal with a lot of BS when it comes to people and their fickle emotions, you know what I'm saying? Because I know how to just distance myself and be away from you, you know, and then everyone should just take that time. The way you start is literally put your phone down one day, put it on D&D and stay in the crib. Somebody asks you to go outside, yo, I can't go. You know, you find something to do that isn't just watching TV. What do you like to do? Be productive in that thing, right? The more we further in this digital world, you know, everyone should have some kind of platform, you know, whether it's faceless or if you put your face in front of it, you should have some kind of platform. So what is that niche that you would have that platform in? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you like to do? So I mean, you got to figure out what you like to do. What do you have a passion for? Because no one has a passion of working for somebody that they don't care about or something they don't care about. You know what I'm saying? So most people, they'll live in that cycle of, I'm going to work, I'm making money, I'm paying bills, I'm going out on the weekend, and I'm just recycling that, rinse and repeat. I might go get a girlfriend, I might go get a boyfriend, but then after that, you know, at some point y'all gonna find some level of disdain for each other. And then what happens when y'all got the disdain for each other? If y'all don't know how to be away from each other, y'all just gonna keep feeding that disdain. You're gonna keep feeding that anger, and then, you know, then you might even get COVID situations, and now you got COVID babies. Now you're stuck with people for 18 plus years because, you know, you ain't know how to be alone. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being alone during that COVID time, you went and you felt like you had to be up under another person 24/7. You know what I'm saying? It's not healthy. And once you feeding people and emotions and energy too much without separation, you know, it just leads to unhealthiness. You feel me? So I say, like, you really gotta just learn to be alone, learn to be in your crib, figure out what to do in your crib that isn't just watching TV, smoking and drinking. You know, find a hobby, find a passion. You know, what makes you tick, what makes you smile. Like, you have to know all these things about yourself, because these are the things that will lead you into loving yourself, which most people don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I took that time to not only love myself, but hate on myself. Feel me? Like, there's nothing somebody can tell me that I ain't told myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm my biggest hater. Feel me? Like, somebody can't come up to me and tell me nothing about me that's gonna make me upset. You feel me? Like you could try, but you know, if I was in my own mind overthinking, deep thinking, I don't like the word overthinking. I'm a deep thinker, so I be in deep thought already about everything I got going on, about myself, about other people. So like, it's harder for you to break that thick skin that I got. Like, even like being a kid growing up and going to the park with my dad, like, my dad's friends used to make fun of me all the time. Like, I got a big head. Like, you know, like my dad's friend, we used to go visit him in Florida. I had mad female friends at the time. He used to call me gay. It's like, bro, I got female friends. How am I gay? Right? I had girlfriends. How am I gay? But these things is like where they just try to get at you and stuff like that. Help build the thick skin for me. You feel me? So you gotta have that thick skin. You gotta learn to love yourself. Learn to hate yourself too. So you know what someone might tell you, so it can prevent you from crashing out or getting upset.
Kind of like that the 8 Mile shit, where Eminem already he knew everything that bro could say about him. So he's like, bro, like, you can't really do shit.
Yeah.
Because I already know I'm fucked up.
That's kind of like where I think Drake should have listened to that, right? And he shouldn't have really took that route, because Drake lives a public life while Kendrick lives a private life. You know what I'm saying? It was harder for him to go into that battle and win. And it's funny because people, just a little small tangent, but people thought that Kendrick was the underdog going in, but I thought that Kendrick was the you know, overdog or whatever, you know, because favorite because, you know, there was way less information on him than there is Drake. Feel me? So it's easy for Kendrick to pull out stuff, and then he made up things too. I believe. Like I don't know if I believe the kid thing, whatever. But there's just way more things that you can attack Drake about.
And everybody knew. I think what makes it worse, and I'm a huge Drake fan, but I think what makes it worse is that going into the battle, everybody knew that the right hook that Kendrick could throw, the haymaker at any time, is the kid shit.
Yeah.
Everybody, not him having a kid, but just him being around younger professionals in the industry, whatever.
Because it's been
everybody knew. So it's like that's what he's gonna say to you, and he still got you by saying that. It's like all you had to do was prepare for that one thing. You feel me? But regardless, man, we could talk about that shit all day. But I think I appreciate you sharing that and kind of like expressing what it was like growing up and, having that solitude to yourself, what that taught you, getting game. Hopefully some of y'all got some gems from that. What I want to talk about now is obviously as we kind of move forward towards the present, you've got all these platforms, you're figuring out new ways to monetize. Stella was telling me earlier that, you have ideas and then you're thinking, okay, here's this idea, here's how this can give impact. And then, okay, how can we monetize it? So for somebody that's following through now and they're taking notes and they're like, okay, isolation, leverage creativity, consume what I want to produce or consume the style of content I want to produce, then take action on that. Now it's like, okay, how do you take that idea from innovation, creativity to now monetizing that idea and actually being able to live being an entrepreneur?
So the thought process also when you're creating the content and ingesting the content that you want to produce and replicate, you also then also have to think like, how am I gonna make money around it, right? So my mom always told me like, you don't want to be a starving artist, and I loved art and I loved sketching and loved drawing and all that, but that's why I even wanted to be an architect at first, because she gave that as a avenue where I could be able to monetize it, right? But I ain't like the structure of math. Like I love money math. I can do money math like this, 2 seconds. But when it comes to just like all that extra crap they teach you is just like unnecessary. You don't use it. You know what I'm saying? So once I realized that from a young age, and I didn't really like the whole concept of structural math, I said, I got to do other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I dipped into music and even the art of sports and writing and broadcast. And I just dipped into all those things. But I thought like, how can I make money in all these things? So you have to make money or else you're going to be forced into the hamster wheel of life where you have to sit in a cubicle or sit in a job that you hate, and my mom always told me too, like you need to make sure that you love what you do. So you don't feel like you're ever working a day in your life. So I really took that concept and I ran with it for my whole life, really. Like I would rather make less money doing what I love to do than to feel like I'm living in death. Like I literally feel like I'm dying every day going to a situation that I'm uncomfortable in, right? Like I've built up enough skill that I could easily build up some other company, but like, why would I do that? I can do that for myself, you know what I'm saying? And when it came to the monetization structure, like there's 24 hours in a day, and with each hour of the day, you could be doing something in that hour that could lead to 0.1 of a penny that could lead to $1 in a week, right? So I think people don't appreciate the small things you can do to lead to big numbers, right? So when it came to monetization, I had to think small to think big, right? I had to know that 7 years later, I can make more money doing something if I planted the seeds now, right? So I always planted seeds knowing that I could water them seeds at different points, right? You can have a whole garden and a tomato plant could grow over there, but that might take longer to grow than some broccoli. Things take time and you have to pay attention to different things at different times of your life. You know what I'm saying? So, monetization for me came with knowing that the more revenue streams I have, one will be able to sustain the other at different times. So I was like, how many revenue streams can I just rack up using my brain and using my creative abilities? Right. So that came with writing, that came with broadcasting, that came with podcasting, that came with doing interviews, that came with being a reviewer, that came with being a playlist curator. I was doing like dance reactions on Instagram. That came with being a YouTuber. That came with being a food reviewer. That came with creating a magazine. That came with doing consultations. That came with helping people build their brands. That came with making a merch line. That came with making a fragrance company and fragrance line. That came with releasing a book. That came with being an editor. That came with just being a photographer. Like these are all things in the creative world that you can use to make money. Like there is a million ways to make money in the creative world, in front of the camera or behind the camera.
Yeah.
And people are too fixated on either or. Right. But if you're a true creative, you're gonna do it all because you know that this creative world is $1 billion industry, and I'm gonna get all the money I can if I like to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do things that make me uncomfortable, but if I feel like I got the talent and the skill to do it, I'm gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? I think people are too fixated on likes, comments, and views. Right? It's about taking that, feeding the algorithm, and using that to then put money in your pockets. Like people are too concerned with the endorphins that they get from engagement and not turning that engagement into currency. Right. And perception is also wealth and perception is currency. And I always knew that having a brand that was coupled and associated with building other brands and providing value and being impactful to the community and impactful to others was going to lead to more money in my pockets. You know what I'm saying? So whether it was me on Clubhouse, I ran over 60 plus groups at one point on Instagram where I was building communities of creators that was meeting on Clubhouse, and they were all in my groups and they were interacting with each other and they're building their engagement, right? And in a time where people didn't necessarily know the power of engagement, people were still fixated on likes and views. And I think only nowadays people realize the power of community and power of engagement. And that's something that I knew from going back to like 2018, 2019, you know what I'm saying? Like, so once again, with the planting of those seeds, and watering them later. You know what I'm saying? At that time, though, I was able to monetize off of running groups. I was able to monetize off of running a marketing service. I was able to monetize off of the clothing brand, off of doing interviews, off of being a song leader, players creator. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know that whatever idea you have, it can be monetized in some way. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's through like brand collaborations, right? Like you can have something here, right here that somebody just pays to have their logo in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? And even if you didn't make no money off of the views, you still made money off of somebody paying to be a sponsor, right? And that's something that's things that I did as well, right? With EBN TV on Roku. You know what I'm saying? I was either making commercials for products or I was having them providing with commercials and I was charging them to have their commercial run during my programming. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's always ways to make money in this. It's just like you got to use your brain, and people are too fixated once again on the likes, comments, and views, and that's one way of monetizing it, right? But then say your audience turn on you tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people lose their livelihood because they didn't create other revenue streams outside of the audience. You know, like I create relationships with business owners and my audience, so I can not only be the person that is feeding the audience and getting money from their retention, but also providing impact to people that have money, because you get richer as well by fixing rich people's problems. You know what I'm saying? Getting more people to buy their products, getting more people to tune into what they got going on. You know what I'm saying? So there's a million ways to monetize in this world. You just got to actually know that's what it is, and it starts with acknowledgement, and then second is action. Do something about it, you know, and put that effort in.
Damn. I hope y'all taking notes, man, for real. And we definitely gonna have to. I mean, it's so much to talk about coming up. Like you got the EBN basketball league going on. You got Dolly vocals that you're doing right now. Like I mean, talk about Dolly vocals. I mean, we're music. You know, we're music and entertainment based platform. You feel me? We talk to a lot of artists. We learn a lot of like the inner workings of being an artist and what makes these artists cut different and unique. What gave you the idea to want to do something like Dolly Vocals? You used to do music in the past, right?
Yeah. So I like to do things in avenues so people would never be able to treat me like Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless, right? So I'm able to speak to artists on how to promote their music, how to be a successful artist, even though I'm not Drake or whatever, but I've released music independently. I've garnered tens of thousands of streams. I've made money off my music. I've, created I used to run a whole group for artists and teaching them how to gain their own publicity. And I was making money off that as well. You know what I'm saying? It was a closed group where they were coming to me for knowledge. I would bring industry professionals and talk to them on how to also build their brand and stuff like that. So, when it came to Dolly Vocals, I wanted to provide a platform for people that understood that there's a lane in R&B that's not being focused on, right? And I like to be the person to see the thing that everyone else is not doing, and I'm gonna build that up and show you that just because you're not putting a light on this doesn't mean that it's not something that shouldn't have a light on it, And that's the whole concept of the spotlight. I'm putting a spotlight on R&B. I'm putting a spotlight on good vibes because we had the whole drill music wave, and I feel like it's dying down a little bit. Drill music will always be a thing, because people come from impoverished situations and they want to tell their story, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the concept of feeling good and tuning in with your significant other and having a good vibe,
leaning into the positive,
leaning into the positive, leaning into to the vulnerability. Like I grew up on hip hop and R&B, not just rap. And I love rap too. I love diss tracks. I love all that. Don't get it misconstrued. But at the end of the day, you have to see the other side that exists. And so with artistry, I wanted to once again put that spotlight on good vibes, good music, quality music. And with Dolly vocals is you, and that spotlight shows what you got. You feel me? And I just want to empower artists to know that you don't have to just follow what everyone else is doing because that's what's popular. Because understand that there's always a future in every industry, and what's happening right now is not going to be the same thing that's going to be happening in the next year. Even me personally, I put out a thread the other day. I feel like it's going to be more monetizable to invest in creators than it is to be musicians. And the same reason or the concept of why people always tell musicians that they have to get more into their creative bag and be video creators is because video creators are taking over.
You have to be a creator.
You have to be a creator, and creatives are the ones that's making the bag, making a lot more money than artists for real. You know what I'm saying? So, I want to also be the person that helps build up that next scene, and by 2025, 2026, help put together R&B superstars that's going to at least be neck and neck with some of these hip hop names that's out there.
Yeah, and be creatives as well, and be able to do their own content and put themselves in position and be well rounded.
Sure.
I rock with that, and I respect that. That's kind of similar to what we're trying to do here. Is kind of put that highlight and give the fan base and the audience that's consuming the content an opportunity to understand, like, at an intrinsic level, what makes these artists unique? What makes these artists cut different? What makes them special, right?
Sure.
Because everybody has a different answer for that. And speaking of being cut different, right? What makes you cut different, Taylor?
I'm me 24/7, 365. Like, nobody gonna change me. So I mean, and I'm very intuitive, and I'm a deep thinker. So I'm always thinking like 3 steps ahead, 5 steps ahead. Like, I'm gonna maintain my individuality at all costs. I'm not here to be nobody else. I don't want nobody to be me. You can't be me. I'm too unique for you to be me. You know what I'm saying? So what makes me cut different is I'm Taylor, and I'm always be Taylor. And I'm not looking to replicate nobody else. Whenever somebody tries to compare me to somebody else, if I watch their content, I stop. I won't engage in it no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't interact with other people's content to try to soak in what they got going on. I watch it on a very like blanket level, and then I leave it and I go produce my own stuff, so I can always maintain my individuality. You know what I'm saying? So what makes me me is that I'm never trying to be nobody else, and that's what makes me cut different. My uniqueness will always shine through. My ability to create new ideas and find out different ways to monetize and make an impact on the world and others, put money in people's pockets. I'm here to make an impact and show people that you can come from a middle class lifestyle and be a black guy and not have to be from the streets, not have to perpetuate a certain kind of lifestyle, and know that you could look like me, be like me. Because most black people are like me, no matter what y'all ingest content wise. Most black people are from middle class situations, or at least upper lower. A lot of people didn't come from the streets. A lot of people can't handle the streets. A lot of people can't handle that mindset, but most people are like me, regular individuals that just want to live life and not be in beef and do dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, you can just use your creative talents to the best of your ability and put some money in your pockets.
Boom. And few things coming up for you. I mean, I know specifically the Creator League is something that is important to you that's coming up here pretty soon, around fall time.
Yeah.
So tell them a little bit about that before we get out of here, and maybe some other things that you want to leave them with.
Mm-hmm. So we got the EVN of Hoops, okay, sponsored by Futango. And I'm here to bring creators together, and we gonna hoop. In case you ain't know, I started off trying to be a sports journalist, and then I dipped into sports entertainment, but I am a hooper. I love to hoop. Basketball is one of my many passions and one of my few hobbies. I don't really got too many hobbies, but I really truly love playing basketball. And I want to provide a space and environment for individuals that love to hoop, but maybe they can't hoop 24/7, 365, because we all trying to trying to make money and live our lives in different ways. You know what I'm saying? So, but you gotta stay active, and so I'm bringing this together and starting like a New York version. I haven't seen people in New York trying to really do this and bring the community together. I'm all about bringing the community together and just vibing out, do this thing that we have called basketball. But outside of that, I'm a restaurant consultant, and you can check out my page for dope food recommendations. I have a food recommendation magazine named EBN Eats. We have another season of that coming out as well. So you can check out that and tune in for dope places to get your grub on. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we got the Dolly vocals. So tune in on EBN Music Media for new artists that you can add to your playlist. We have a new season of EBN TV available on Roku, on all smart TVs or Roku devices. We got a new season of that coming out. We got the Blase you can always tune in to. That's the fragrance. Men and women love that thing. You got to go tap in. We got the EBN Wear clothing line available at the ebntv.com/ebnwear. Make sure you tap in, tune into that. I'm saying you can catch me on YouTube. I'm gonna be giving out more gems, more sauce. Taylor, Elajas. You can go tap in on the TikTok as well. I'm giving y'all advice on how to better your life, and how to make some money, how to use the internet to the best of your ability. How to gain confidence, because everything starts with internal confidence and loving yourself. That's the only way you're gonna be able to build and grow in this world. Or else people are gonna be able to break you down, and you're gonna be a piece of nothing that's not gonna be able to grow into a bright greeny tree. You know what I'm saying? But EBN, we got a lot of stuff going on. You gotta just stay tuned, because I might have a new idea tomorrow.
Facts.
I might have a new idea tomorrow that I gotta do something with. What's up?
Type shit. I mean, and if you like chicken nuggets, they got EBN chicken nuggets, EBN ice cream, EBN coloring books, EBN shoelaces.
Hey, shoelaces.
Nah, bro. I mean, you guys are looking at somebody that's really making this entrepreneurship shit happen, man. And you know what I'm saying? I love it. I mean, we met recently at the Dolly Vocals launch event at Quad Studios. And so,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? I'm grateful that we tapped into that. And shit, man, I hope that we can continue to grow our relationship, shit. And I'm learning too. You feel me? I'm learning when you're talking, I'm learning just like you guys are learning. And so I look forward to see what you continue to do. And shit, I might have to give you a bucket this fall.
Hey, let's get it in. I don't back down for some buckets. You know what I'm saying? Where too? Shout out Bel Air too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Hey,
bubbly.
Shout out Bel Air, man.
Yep.
Holla at us. I look good with this bottle, don't I? You know what I'm saying? Let's make that happen. For real.
Appreciate you having me, though.
Definitely, bro. I go by the name of Sebastian Ryder. You tapped into another episode of Cut Different TV. And also, before we get out of here, man, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Join the Cut Different family. Like the video, man. Comment down below. He dropped a lot of gems, a lot of jewels for y'all. You feel me? And we making it happen. So this is a black man that's really making it happen. This is a creative. This is an artist. This is a content producer, an entrepreneur, everything in one. The hat collection is insane. So go tap in with him on all his socials, and stay tuned for another episode of Cut Different TV, man. We out.
Getting down and dirty.
That was smooth, bro. Good shit.
My guy.
Fire.
Cut.